Hello and welcome to Channel Sport on Sunday. I am Ken Ochonogo. It is 10 days to Christmas. You can count them on your fingers. So it is the season. And I tell you, it is the season of giving. It is the season of loving. It is the season of forgiveness. It is the season of hope. It is the season of sports. And it is the end of the decade. In a few days from now, less than 3 weeks, 2019 will come to an end, and the decade, 2010 to 2019, 10 good years of sports also will come to an end. We shall review that. We shall look at the outstanding sportsmen during this period. We shall look at those who excelled. We shall look at those who tried, and then we shall look at the controversies and the highlights of those days, of the entire 10 years of sports. We shall also come to you because you should let us know who are your sportsmen of the decade. These are the things we want to look at. You know, starting today till next week, and probably maybe the first week of 2020, God willing, we shall look at those things, those exciting moments of the decade. But today, we start by saying, yes, it is celebration, because Kamaru, the man went in there with that. I like it when Nigerian, sportsmen enter into the ring, whether the UFC, whether it is box, maybe Anthony Joshua, the last airbender, he calls himself. I mean, they go in there with the total Nigerianness. They go over there and said, this is where we are. Niger blood is flowing. Forget New Zealand, forget America, forget everywhere. Nigerian blood is what is there. So he went there, and I tell you, he decisioned, Corbin, and I tell you this, that makes his streak. He has a streak now, a streak of 11. That is the second longest running streak now in the UFC. He retained his welterweight title after 2 knockdowns. Okay, the first is a knockdown. The second one is a knockout, because when you are down, I don't get up. It's a knockdown. We shall look at that and see how we are triumphing. In football, we look at it because at this, it's like Liverpool. Every week is becoming certain that that 30-year in the wilderness without the EPL will be over. Probably at the end of May. The title chasers, Leicester City, couldn't beat bottom of the league Norway, and then it ended 1-1. So Liverpool, with those 2 Salah goals, tells you that yes, it is just getting closer and closer, probably until it will get to where you say after 4 matches nobody can reach them. I hope they won't win the league in March. Let's hope it will get on to May. Moving also right there to Spain, Barcelona. Yes, what happened to Barcelona? What happened to Barcelona? They went to Real Sociedad, and you see some of those kids there, those touted to take over from Messi and Ronaldo. You understand? Januzaj and Odegaard, those guys, they are there. Those are the future. And I tell you, they let Barcelona know that even with Messi, even with Suarez, that match will end all square. And then Real Madrid had an opportunity to leapfrog them if they win today. Our own league is also on, MPFL. And I tell you, yes, we have the Dakada, and then we also have the Kwara United, because the league management company has said, yes, they have fulfilled all righteousness. Right now they can change name and they can switch. They can switch ownership and switch venue and switch everything that is switchable. So that is where we are now. But we asked the same question we asked in the past 2 weeks or so, and so what are those processes? When is it supposed to be the time that you're supposed to do this? Is there supposed to be a time limit? They will say after the league has kicked off, you cannot do it or whatever. But then they have their rules and they have their regulations, and they have those who sit on, over there and look at them. And to them, these guys have met the requirements to effect those changes. So those changes were effected. We shall look at all that. A lot has been happening. The President's Cup, of course, it did happen. And then but today, we are going to look at, like I said, on the decade. But before that, we'll try and go to Yenagoa. We'll try and go to Yenagoa because 2020 is the year of the Olympics. 2020 is the year we hope, to achieve, because the last time we actually smiled was after 1996. Since 1996, it has been down. Okay, in 2000, the NFL and Co went over there. Of course, they got that bronze to silver, from silver to gold. That gave us that gold over there. But 20 from that is 2000, 2004, 2008, 2008. Of course, Akabari went there and brought us that bronze in Beijing, China. But then you move on to 2012. It was 0-0-0-0. An improvement in 2016 when football gave us that particular bronze. So it has not been what we expect. It has not been that, as a sporting nation, in terms of material and resources, it is not what we are getting. But we're hoping that, yes, as we are going to Tokyo in 2020, that, which is, less than a year from now, we're counting months now, that Nigeria should be able to excel. So, but then a man who should know, had some worries, and he now said, why it's like we are not having, what we need. We are not making enough. We didn't set aside enough what will take us there. So we want to see if we can get to Yenegua and speak with the president of Nigerian Wrestling Federation, Daniel Igali. Hello.
Hello.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. President.
Good afternoon, sir.
Daniel Igali, for those of you watching, is a champion that is an African wrestling champion. He is a Commonwealth wrestling champion. He is an Olympic, you understand? He won the Olympic gold and is also a world champion, which means he won the gold in Africa, he won the gold in the Commonwealth, he won the gold in the world, and he went to the Olympics and he won the gold. But that is not just there. Daniel Igali is a two-time legislator in Bayelsa, House of Assembly member. Daniel Igali is the president of Nigerian Wrestling Federation, and I tell you this, Daniel Igali is the commissioner for sport and development in Bayelsa State. So if anybody should know, Daniel, you should know. So we are coming to you. 2020. Before we go to 2020 first, let me ask you this. 2019, how has it been for Nigerian wrestling?
Well, thank you for this your question and for inviting me to your program. 2020, without a doubt, has been a very good year for Nigerian wrestling, especially despite the funding gaps that we have. With the meager resources we have, I think we've been able to achieve results not only commensurate, but we've been punching above our weight, if that is an accurate depiction of what we're able to achieve. And it started very early in the year where we started exposing some of our top hitters to the international circuit. We went to about 3 international tournaments, won 2 gold medals and 2 bronze medals in those international tournaments. And then we went to Africa, and our women again, for the 8th year in a row, became African champions. At the Africa Games again, we came overall first in all 3 styles, including Greco-Roman female and freestyle wrestling, by coming home with 7 gold medals. And then we went to the World Championships. And people need to understand this. Since 2013, wrestling has been one of the only sports that has been consistently winning medals at the World Championships. And again, this year, we won a bronze medal at the World Championships in Kazakhstan. It was won by Odunayo Adekoroye. And 2 of our athletes just narrowly missed placing on the medal table. Blessing Onyebuchi, in fact, beat the reigning silver medalist in the world this year. And because of some other issues, was not able to make it to the medal rounds. Blessing Oborodudu almost wrestled for the bronze medal match, ended up placing 7th and 1 place from placing this year. So again, in 4 years, we have won 3 World Championship medals. We have qualified 1 athlete going to the Olympics, and we're hoping to qualify another 5 or 6 next year. At the Beach Games this year, our 2 athletes, one won a silver medal and the other became a world champion. That's the first world champion ever in the history of our sport. Blessing Oyebuchi became our world champion in beach wrestling. And so we're silver medalist and world champion at beach wrestling. So without a doubt, and without beating our own trumpet, I will say this was a very good year for Nigeria wrestling.
Okay, no doubt about that. I will defer one question. I won't ask that question now, but I really want to ask you this. We said one of the prerequisites for success, of any of the sports has to be mass participation. At the grassroots level, how has wrestling, thrived in that area? Have you to rival? We just go to play football. We don't need to go and beg people to come and play football. How do people take to wrestling? And how are the schools involved in it? Are you satisfied with your catchment area?
I have to be very modest when it gets to issues like this, and we have to be honest with ourselves. I am not particularly happy with the level of wrestling at the grassroots level. But we must also understand that this takes not only the national federation, it takes the local governments, it takes the states, and the national federation really, our real goal is to develop talent for international tournaments, and it starts at the 15 to 17-year range. That is the cadet level. So we need to do a bit more. And I think funding has a big role to play, because if you compare us with some other countries, your national budgets are based on different tiers of funding. The developmental funding is there, then mass participation is there, and the elite level of participation is also there. And because we virtually have zero for development in any of our national funding paradigms, I think that has also played a very big role in our inability to get to the school level. But at our level, we've been able to do as much as we can. So, for instance, if we go to our championships, where we have cadets, and seniors participating, the last one we had in Takot, we had 800 athletes participating in the tournament. That is without a doubt one of the highest number of participants in any sport like wrestling, apart from athletics. Has a huge followership in Nigeria.
Okay, I mean, like you said, the challenges are there, and then also the constraints, in terms of budgeting. Let us step in, because I mean, I read you, and then with this whole conversation kick-started with what you wrote. Just give me a few minutes if I can just do that. You wrote this. In an Olympic year, we have a budget of less than $11 million for the Youth and Sport Ministry in Nigeria. It is mind-boggling that the youth in a country of over 200 million people, with 70% under the age of 35, shares $11 million with sports development. Sport and its national 42 national federations receive slightly over $5 million to attempt a camp, Olympic qualification, tournaments, local programs, preparations for the Olympics and Paralympics, and the Olympics and Paralympics participation, and everything in between. To you, this sum is inadequate. Let me start by asking you, what do you think should be an adequate budget in a year where preparatory to the Olympics?
You see, when we talk about Olympics, it has to start around these Olympics. And you look at advanced countries, the Olympic qualification and preparation starts right after the year of the Olympics. And it's not yearly budgets. It's like done in 2-year brackets, or sometimes budgets are for 4 years. If you look at a country like Cuba, for instance, and I keep talking about this because Cuba is a relatively small country. It's a poor country, but has done the right things in sports. So on the average, Cuba wins about 5 gold medals at every Olympics. And it is simple. It's because Cuba invests in sports. Their sports budget, overall sports budget, is about $120 million every year. The Olympic specific budget is about $80 million every year. Now, if you equate $80 million to our Nigerian currency is about 28 billion. That is what Cuba invests in sports every year. So over time, you will see that they have a way of harnessing that number of medals, winning between 15 to 20 medals at every Olympics and an average of about 5 gold medals every year. And I think Nigeria is capable of doing that. And that is why I feel that $11 million or about just slightly over 3 billion naira for sports and youth. So if two of them now share it, we're now left with 5 million, about 5 million or maybe 6 million, let's say 6 million. So we have just slightly close to 2 billion for sports. Now, what does that equate to for 42 national federations? And if we're going to also look at mass participation, virtually everything is enclosed within that space. And if we look at that, it's not adequate. Let's now look at a country like South Africa, whose budget was about 16.4 billion for sports this year. And that also includes building of facilities and all that. But say 16.4 billion compared to 3 billion for Nigeria. Let's look at...
Hello, Dan. Hello, Dan. Is it $16.4 billion? Is it billion dollars?
To naira now, so that people can understand. We have slightly over 3 billion naira.
Okay. Okay.
South Africa, 16.5 billion.
Okay.
If you look at to go to Canada, Egypt's budget for sports and education, it's 22.8 billion. Which also includes facility maintenance and building of structures. But it just goes to tell you that we're punching far below our weight as champions, as the biggest economy in Africa, as the biggest population in Africa. If we now distribute that amount of money, over 3 billion naira, to about 70 point something million youth, and then all the sports federations, what are we talking about? And especially in an Olympic year, from what I understand, the funds we are getting for this year is even less than what we got for last year. So if we are serious and we're saying Nigeria should do better than 1 bronze medal in an Olympic year, that is on a good year now for the past 3 Olympics, on a good year that we shouldn't win only 1 bronze medal, then we have to do a bit better than the budgeting we've been doing. I feel without any modicum of doubt in my mind that Nigeria has the capacity to win between 5 and 10 medals at every Olympics if we prepare well. And even these Olympics that were being written off, I think that there is the capacity for Nigeria to win between 3 to 4 medals if we are realistic. And I think that can be done, especially if we do things right from now going forward.
You represented Nigeria and you also represented Canada, and you're a bit familiar with the Canadian system. How is the budget? How is the wrestling budget like for the Canadian team? Because I don't want to come. I know. I want to ask you 2 questions anyway. The other question is this. Budget is not supposed to be top down, it's supposed to be bottom up. What are the inputs of the various federations? These are, let us say, the wrestling federation in this year's budget. What did you put? Have they been giving you in the past 4 years? Have you been getting what you've been asking for? You know, both on approval and disbursement. Can we start with the Canadian system and then we can go any which way?
You see, I am very reticent to start discussing Canada and Nigeria because it's like not even comparing apples to oranges. It's like comparing apples to bananas or to even cucumber. So I find it very difficult because we are just too far apart. That's why I talk about Cuba. I talk about South Africa, even Egypt. I talk about Kenya because Kenya's budget for this year, the Olympic year, is about Kenya's budget is about 16.4 billion for sports and recreation this year. So if you compare just even Kenya's budget to Nigeria's budget for sports, you know that we are not doing as well as we should do. But because you asked about Canada, I will say this. The female team's budget for 2019 in Canada was $2.3 million. So if you, let's say it's 300, take 300 to the Naira exchange rate for that, and you will come to these people getting close to 650 million for the year, compared to what the whole Nigeria Wrestling Federation got this year, which is 35 million. That is what we were able to use for our activities. Now I understand that no federation will get the amount of money you request for. That is only in an ideal situation. So I don't expect that if we submit a budget of 400 million, we're going to get all of it. But it would be nice if we can even be getting half of what we need. If we're getting half of what we need, I think we would be doing a lot better than we're doing now. And I'm not castigating anyone. I'm not saying anyone is not doing enough, because I also understand the ministry does not get what it asks for. They get given a certain amount of money that they must conform to. So if you are, say, given an envelope of just 2 billion, then that is what you are stuck with. And that is what normally happens to the sports ministry. And that is what they have to use for all federations and every activity. So I don't want to blame the ministry, but what I'm saying is we need to be a bit more ingenious. We need to start looking at the ways we can do this outside the box. And that's why I'm excited with the new initiative of the minister in having our athletes been adopted by persons interested in sports and corporations. And that's why we will all be there in Lagos tomorrow to support that initiative.
Okay, just one last question. Football gets their budget directly. They go to defend their budget directly at our National Assembly. Why are other federations, have you asked that you should be given the same opportunity to present your budget before the National Assembly?
This year, the National Assembly did something that was a bit more novel than other years. They invited, especially the Olympic federations, Olympic-bound federations, to come and interface with them. So we did that. We had robust discussions with them, told them about the financial strangulation that federations are going through, and they took it under notice. What they're going to do next is what we can't tell you. But we have been able to explain to them what we need to do well at the Olympics. And I'm sure the funding model this year might be slightly different from what has taken place in other years.
Okay, finally, should we be expecting a gold from wrestling in Tokyo?
I can tell you this. Everything is possible with wrestling, especially if we do the right things. We have one or two athletes who are within that range, and I will specifically mention Odunayo Adekore, who I think is right there. We just need to do the right investments. We need to train smart. We need to compete smart. And if everything comes together for us at this Olympics in August in Tokyo, anything is possible. That's what I can say.
Thank you very much, Dan. Thank you very much.